Hello everyone, my name is Zoya Siddiqui. Welcome to Oscar Foundation podcast. Here with us, we have a very special guest. She is very close to us. Welcome Shraddha Di. Welcome to our podcast. Shraddha Di began her journey as a young leader. She was the first person to start a batch in Thane. She mobilized the whole community. She started a batch. Kids started playing in Thane for Oscar Foundation. Later, she joined communication team and now she is excelling in communication so much. She's working for different companies. She is been so amazing. So Shraddha Di, I'm very, very happy and delighted to have you with us. And speaking with you is altogether different experience only. Whenever I meet you, it is just amazing. So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here. First of all, I want to really say that this feels very nostalgic, and I've come here after a lot of years. So it's my home ground, and I had no idea that I missed it so much. So,
How did your journey with Oscar Foundation kick off? Were you always this passionate?
well, I wasn't passionate about soccer, but I was really wanting to find a purpose in life. So, where after playing football, and then when I was introduced to the Young Leader program, I was very excited because I was getting to learn something that I was loving. Like the education system, like in school and college, is very different. And this was like real life experiences and real life lessons that were taught to us. And we were getting groomed professionally, be it how to manage children or how to develop ourselves. It was like a whole new experience. So I think that's where my passion began, to find my own purpose in life. And then it just kept going on.
Wow, so amazing. So what were your initial days as a young leader like? Any awkward moment or funny moment that has occurred to you?
Well, I do remember a funny moment. See, I belong to a conservative family. Like back then, my parents were very conservative. And so these trainings are generally residential.
Right.
So somehow I just missed that word residential, and I just went the first day. I just went with a small backpack, and the sir that attended me at the entrance, he was like, Shada, where's your bag? I said, so this is my bag. And he was like, this is a residential training, right? And I was completely blank. I was like, what? So actually, what happened was really good for me. If I would have known that it is a residential training, I would have never went and asked my father, can I go? Because I knew that he would have said a no. So what happened for my best. And that's how I started the Young Leader training. My first day was so excited. I was really excited. I went back home. Of course, my father did not allow to stay. So I was traveling back and forth,
Nice.
and I attended that training. But I realized then that how important this was for me. And it just made me feel so alive, and I felt great that back then. So that's how the young leader training, that's how the young leader life chapter in my life started.
So amazing as it says that whatever happens, happens for the best. So a perfect example for it. So before starting the football match in Thane, how did you convince your parents to send their children to Oscar Foundation?
To be honest, I did not have to convince parents, at least in the case of boys, because they were just like happy with the idea that someone is going to teach us something new, and that is free of cost. So children were just motivated to come and play and learn something new. And plus the structure that we have of our sessions, the fusion of life skills, that makes it very unique. And children were not just learning soccer, but it was combined with so many lessons that we were delivering through the game. So that made it even more easy because I saw that will in children to learn something. So that just kept them motivated, I think. I only had to convince when it came to parents of girls. I had to give them examples, and I had to set an example first. So that's what I started doing. Uh, it was difficult initially, but then when they realized, I just had to convince them for sending them once. And then the girls would go back and share their learnings. So it just kept on developing trust. And then it wasn't smooth, but yes, eventually we did have girl participants at least. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. I've heard so many stories of you doing so much amazing in Thanian Bites. Now the kids are grown up so well and they themselves have become young leaders and they're also doing so good. So the hierarchy, the example he has set for them, the continuing the same thing and the Thanian batch is progressing so much beyond things. So that's so amazing to see. So what was your yes, this is working moment when you felt like your efforts were finally paying off?
So there was this Oscar organizes Women's Day event every year.
Right.
And like this is 5 6 years ago was a story where I had taken that point of time. I had very few girls in my batch. There were like some 11 12 girls, and I had taken them for the event. They were very excited. They had a great day. They were so happy. Like even when they would pass by me during that event, they'd give me a like huge smile. And I was the one who was traveling with them to and fro from Thane to Mumbai. So when we were returning back, I remember we were passing the oval ground, and these girls were like, "Didi, we want a picture with you here." And we did take that photo, and they gave a group hug. Wow. Okay, that was so. I mean, it was an emotional moment for me because I could see my childhood in them, and I was so glad that they have someone to guide them. They have someone who can help them pull them out of their daily routines and show them something different, like a goal that generally girls are not shown. Right. So they thanked me over and over again for bringing us here and for this entire day. So I'm literally shivering right now. I recall that and I feel so emotional because that was the point when I was like, man, this is it. This is what I want. This is how I want to feel happy by seeing these children happy. So, yeah, that was.
That's so amazing to hear because you have so much passion and determination in your eyes for your kids. Not only the kids you work with, not only the kids you coach with, but also the people around you. You're so sweet. Like you're the most unfriended person I've ever seen. Like what's in your heart, it's on your face, it's on your lips and everything. Like if you know it is right, you'd compliment it. You'll make sure that person feels safe around you. That's the most weakest quality I admire about you. Like slow, but that still inspires us till date. So, moving on. So, what are your thoughts on women empowerment?
Okay, again, a tough one. Um, well, for me, women empowerment, we've been talking about it a lot.
Right.
In metropolitan cities, we see women are empowered, but in rural areas, it's still not there. We agree with that. Um, but I'll still stick with the city part because Thane comes in the suburbs, and even the later suburbs still needs empowerment,
Right.
correct? But with empowerment comes responsibility and awareness. I mean, if I'm an empowered woman, I need to know what is right for me, what is going to help me to reach my goals, how it is going to benefit me. So it's always a balance. We just talk about, no, this is like, of course, standing up for yourself and giving your opinions is a part of empowerment. But then when we choose the wrong places to do that, people have started making fun of it. I hear people saying, oh, women are empowered enough now. But then the idea goes in a negative light because of some of us are doing the wrong things at the wrong time. So the timing matters and the realization and awareness matters, and it comes with that responsibility. So if I am teaching someone or empowering someone, I'm going to also teach the person how to best utilize it in her own benefit, to make the best choices for her own self so that she reaches a goal and not just like pick up any sort of argument or unnecessarily raise your voice over something. Right. So, yeah. Here, I would also like to mention one more perspective that I have. There was this incident. I had been to Madhya Pradesh after my marriage, and I was with my extended family, and we were exploring places, and we were at a tea store. Okay, there the tea stall lady, she asked my aunt-in-law, "Is he your daughter-in-law?" And she said yes. So I was wearing a normal kurti, and there you would see women wearing the ghumgat and everything. So she questioned that, uh, you keep your daughter-in-laws like this? मतलब ऐसे रखते हो तुम लोग अपने बहुओं को? And before I would get offended, my aunt-in-law was like, हम लोग हमारी बहुओं को बेटियों जैसे रखते हैं. Wow. So she said that for us, our daughter-in-laws are like daughters, and we try to give them that kind of environment, what we would give to our daughter. So this, I think, empowerment is a generational thing, and has to come from two generations. Right. My generation, along with that, our previous generations. So when that happens, that's when women will really get empowered. And I think that can help in rural areas also if this happens. Yeah, like a woman standing for a woman.
Before wrapping up, any final message for people chasing dreams and bonus point for a filmy dialogue?
Well, I don't have a filmy dialogue, but there are two things that I abide by. One is a timeline, and the other is a pause button. So, and just come to it one by one. I'll keep it short. So, what I mean by timeline, I feel things should happen on time in life because that helps you to plan things, to achieve things, and it gives you a direction. So I have a vision board. So whatever I had vision for till my late 20s, I have almost achieved it. I'm like 90% there. So when I say this, how I did it, that was because I started early. I started earning, I started working parallelly. I was blessed to meet my partner. We got married. So it didn't happen quick. It happened with time. But yeah, so these kind of things I kept on doing. I did not push them aside that no, I'm not ready for it. Nobody is ready to any kind of change or getting out of comfort zones. Nobody is ready for it. So I always pushed myself like, ja, uncomfort mein hi tu ja. That was my attitude overall. And I hate having a stagnant life. If there is stagnancy in life, something happens to me. So I keep pushing myself. That is how I also uh, took the decision of moving to Bangalore. Because of course, कहीं से कहीं पहुंचने के लिए कहीं से निकलना पड़ता है. That thing it was. So I had worked for a social cause. I had done good work there. I had achieved recognition and appreciation for my work. I had made my parents feel proud. My love life was going well. And I wanted to travel countries. I wanted to make myself capable enough to travel on my own. And I also had a dream to take my parents on a foreign trip. So this year I fulfilled that as well. So everything kept falling in place because I had a vision and I was doing things at the right time. Now, right time definition is different for everyone. For everyone, priorities are different. And I respect that. But if we try to not push things for afterwards and just take a decision and live with it, I think that takes us further. Now I'm sitting here with a baby and I'm so excited and nervous. My life is going to go crazy. I know it. But of course, it is getting out of my comfort. So again, for next year, the target is welcoming this baby. And let's see how it goes. here I want to come to the pause button. So, since I started early, I have done things, I have achieved things that I wanted to, and now I feel I can take a break. That becomes very difficult for a lot of women because they feel this decision can affect their career. I felt that too. I was like, I went crazy because I was told to take bed rest and all, and I have never done that in my life. I felt that everything is stopped. I didn't know what to do. But again, reflection, awareness about my own emotions, the purpose that I have in mind, my why over everything. So that helped me keep going. So regarding the pause button, I think of course it is everyone's personal choice. But I think women, you do deserve this. Okay?
Amazing. It was such a nice conversation with you. I always say, it's like speaking to you even for a minute is like it feels so amazing, and we resonate with you so much. Like even I was a kid, I grew up watching you when you used to conduct or lead events at Cooper's Film. We were there. We saw you how you worked hard. You worked so much. Like we had a role model to follow, and and in a age now when it thinks I need to figure out how it goes. Like you are the kind of role model like we look up to. Like if you all can go there, why can't we? Yes, we are been on the same journey. We are on the same path. If you can teach there, even we can teach there. So thank you so much for being that positive influence to us. More likely a resilient source to us. Like you never gave up on your journey. You fall down, you got up, and you just carried on. So thank you so much for being there for us.
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Big time pleasure because have seeing you guys doing so good, and I appreciate the fact that you guys appreciate others as well. People don't do it, right? This is very difficult to find. So, yeah, I'm just so glad, proud of you guys, and all the best. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.